Let's welcome back former New York Congresswoman Nan Hayworth, former Oklahoma House Speaker and current candidate for the United States Senate in Oklahoma, T.W.Shannon, and former Trump campaign aide and Newsmax contributor Rick Gates. Great to have you on this morning. Good to have you back. Rick, it gets worse for the president. This is CNN. The public's outlook on the state of the country is apparently the worst it's been since 2009 at the peak of the financial crisis, which at that time was called the worst crisis we've had fiscally in this country since the stock market crash of 1929, which began, of course, the Great Depression. Every day I wake up and I think, boy, the president couldn't get any worse headlines than he's already gotten. What do you make of this and the fact that more of this reporting is coming from places like the New York Times and CNN?
Well, I think that overall, it's very hard to hide the mistakes and the atrocities that the Biden administration is making from a policy standpoint. But more important than the numbers to me are what's behind that. And those are what are the issues driving those poll numbers down, and what are the issues that are going to be driving voters to the polls come November. And excuse me, the number one is economy, inflation, and then you go from there. And that is not going to change. Biden has not been able to understand the severity of what he has done to wreck the economy and how much that's hurt the American people. And that's going to continue through November. And it's going to get worse before it, remotely even gets better, if it even gets better under a Biden term.
Nan, you served in Congress. What are you expecting come November the 8th?
Well, Congresswoman Tenney was exactly right with you, Rob. Republicans definitely have a very strong case to make that they should be replacing Democrats across the board, but election integrity is crucial. What American voters see, apropos of what Rick was perceptively saying, is maladministration everywhere. This was supposed to be the return of the grown-ups, remember? And yet from day one, this administration at every level, including the press secretary, who can't even get out a coherent sentence, very much in line with her chief executive, we have seen failure after failure on energy policy, number one, from day one. Nothing all of these talented bureaucrats are doing. Pete Buttigieg in transportation, all the snarls in supply chain, baby formula, not getting to families. These are crises. Energy policy, obviously, gas prices rising. Restaurants can't afford to feed their senior customers at a price they can afford. The misery index is off the charts. So it should be a great year for Republicans, but then they're going to have to deliver.
Amazing, Nan, you didn't even mention the border. Think about that. Any other administration, what's going on the border would be this would be the biggest story. And we got the June numbers yesterday. Again, we just had the worst June we've ever had in history at the southern border. TW, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, you think about it, bringing up the border, we had 2.5 million people come into our country illegally in 2021. That is not only a crisis, that is a matter of national security. We have the crime crisis that Biden created. We have inflation, record gas prices. And what are the Democrats talking about? What's the narrative out of Washington, D.C.? They're still going after Donald Trump. They are obsessed with Donald Trump. And the truth is, the country is ready for answers and solutions. And the America First policy agenda, it was working. Americans had the most prosperous economy we've ever had. Our enemies feared us and our allies respected us. But right now, that's not the case. And we knew this during the election time. Joe Biden told us that his primary goal was to do away with fossil fuels. He was coming after the industry, and he has delivered on that promise. But the good news is he has united Americans. Americans across the board, across the aisle, think that this is an inept president, and they're ready to move on to more prosperity and restoring America to what made it great in the first place, which is the Constitution, capitalism, and Christianity. That's what we have to have back in Washington, D.C., and this administration cannot deliver.
Yeah, great point, TW. And you look at those border numbers from June. So 207,000 illegal crossings in June 2022 last month. Last year, we were on the air. We were talking about this on Wake Up America. It was 189,000, and that was a record, a then record in June of 2021. We've passed that again. Guess what? Officially, and these numbers coming down yesterday from the Border Patrol, more people have crossed the southern border illegally already in 2022 than did in all of 2021. And there are those June numbers right there. Rick, I don't know if you've been over to Nantucket, but it's an island off the coast of Massachusetts. The Kennedys made Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard famous for years and years, vacationing there. Barack Obama spent some time over there. Dr. Jill Biden, who's not a medical doctor, Dr. Jill Biden, who's got an EED in education from the University of Delaware online, was over there raising money on Saturday night. I want to put up a quote of what the First Lady had to say about her husband's time in office. Take a listen to this. The president had so many hopes and plans for things he wanted to do, but every time you turned around, he had to address the problems of the moment. She went on to say basically more of the same, saying he's just had so many things thrown his way. Who would have ever thought about what happened with the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade? The gun violence in this country is absolutely appalling. We didn't see the war in Ukraine coming. She is mentioning everything, Rick, in the past tense. Her husband has still got 2.5 years to go in office. This is not year number 8 after 2 successful terms in office. He just got in there, and she's already referring to everything in the past tense. Rick, that's called the presidency, dealing with unforeseen problems, isn't it?
In all my years of working with different presidential candidates and presidents, it's the moment makes the president. That's exactly what a presidency is. It's not that a president charts a course and that course is followed. It's what they come into contact with in the course of their presidency that truly defines them. And we can go through history and show whether it was 9/11 with George Bush, it was Iran with Obama. You have so many examples of instances where events were unpredictable and the president is supposed to deal with it. That's what creates leadership. That's what creates strength. And this is exactly what Jill Biden is running away from, which is very interesting, the way that she used the words. I thought the word usage about past tense very ominous to some extent, and just completely ignoring the fact that Joe Biden hasn't dealt with the primary issues that are hurting Americans.
Yeah, and COVID for Donald Trump. No one saw that coming. I think no COVID, Donald Trump's reelected. Nan, your thoughts?
Joe Biden isn't a problem solver. He's a problem creator. Jill Biden talking about him in the past tense is simply expressing the wishes, I think, of most Americans at this point. I wish he were in the rearview mirror also. Every problem that Joe Biden has encountered is virtually all of them are problems that he has created. He set the conditions for Vladimir Putin to invade Ukraine when he, on day one, when Joe Biden shut the spigots on American domestic energy production. He set the pretext for it. He set the pretext for inflation, for all the miseries that have ensued. And then he has an incompetent administration that, of course, is helping him make everything worse.
Yeah. Good stuff, guys, this morning. Really enjoying the conversation. We'll pick it back up top of the hour. She's also gaslighting the American people. Putin started building up troops on the border with Ukraine when Trump was still in office. Roe v. Wade, the left has been talking about that for years and years now. You didn't see it coming. The writing's been on the wall in a lot of cases for a long, long time. All right, we'll do it again top of the hour.